Plant a Seed and See What Grows, written by Roland, Gahler. So this book was provided to us by the Plant a Seed and See What Grows Foundation, and they provided us with coloring books, seed packets, and books, and we are sharing these with our elementary students at our school where our library is. And the purpose is to provide encouragement to children. So I'm just going to read you the passage. So, the future belongs to the young, and one of the world's geniuses could be living with you right now. But to achieve their full potential, children need to be encouraged and inspired. They need to be cultivated like a garden that explodes into life when it gets what it needs. This book is about encouraging children to see what their future could be like, and to inspire them to respect and care for the earth while their minds are still open and receptive. So at the end of the book, we're going to go through planting some seeds with children, but we'll just get started with the book now. Each day is a new adventure, an exciting way to learn about the things around us, like this butterfly and this fern. Michael's mom is a gardener, planting seeds in the ground. She says they'll become beautiful, and they'll do it without a sound. Plant a seed and see what grows, right before your eyes. A living thing so green and tall, a beautiful surprise. The soil feeds the little seed, the worms will help it too. Nature works just perfectly, you'll learn that this is true. The rain comes down to water it and wets the little seeds. A healthy drink to nourish them, it's just what seedlings need. The sun looks down and says hello and warms them from the sky. Their stems stretch tall to reach the light, their fluttering leaves wave high. When Michael finds a seed himself, he knows just what to do. I'll plant this in the garden bed. I'll grow my own plant too. Michael soon forgets his seed until one fine spring day, he sees a green shoot peeking out. He stares and shouts, "Hooray!" There's his. The earth works well, this we know, in perfect harmony. The beauty of growth surrounds us all, an amazing thing to see. So there's his seed that he planted, and it's already growing. He brings his mom out to the patch. He says, "Look, come and see." He wonders what it will become, a rose? An apple tree? His mom just smiles and pats his head. You'll have to wait to know. The best part for a gardener is watching how it grows. From a little flower to a mighty oak, all plants start out so small. A tiny seed that's nurtured well will grow quite strong and tall. A seed cared for grows anywhere, in the ground or in a pot. A plant can flourish equally on a farm or urban plot. You, my son, are like that seed. Adventures you will find. With good nutrition you will be strong in body and mind. Plant a seed and see what grows. The earth will do the rest. The beauty of growth is a miracle, and earth does it the best. Cherish the whole earth and sea, and care for yourself too. Always treasure these precious gifts that are given to me and you. So to go along with this book, there are coloring books for different age groups. So it kind of goes along with the story of planting the seeds. And so in addition, there's a sequel book called What to Do with What You Grow. And that's going to be our next YouTube story. So we will cover what to do with what you grow next time. So this time, we're going to work on planting our own seeds. So I have some of the seeds from the See What Grows foundation. And they have given us echinacea, bush beans, and Italian parsley. And so they're all organic, non-GMO seeds. And I started them in some cups. And if you want to have a look, you can see that my bush beans grew quite quickly. They have a lot of roots. If you look inside there, I have one very long piece, and then I have a seed just starting, and then two that have started about a couple days ago. So the bush beans grow very, very fast. They were up and sprouted within a week, and this is just about 2 weeks, or a little over 2 weeks of growth for this piece here. So once the bush bean gets taller, I'll need to put a little popsicle stick or a stake in there to hold the vine nice and straight till it gets strong enough. In addition, I planted some basil, which was from my own packets of seeds, and that's what it looks like after it's sprouted. So once it gets really large, it would grow right out of the cup. The basil leaves will get quite big. You just pick them off the stem or trim them off, and you chop them up and use them in your food. This is the echinacea seed. So that comes from the packet of echinacea that they gave us. And so it will flower after it gets mature. It'll get a flower on it. And if you look up uses for echinacea, you can certainly use it as well. So in order to plant the seeds, all I did was get a little bit of potting soil. And if you don't have the big cups, you don't have to have the big cups. But I'm using like an egg tray, so I've just cut out the bottom of the egg tray and I put some of my potting soil in there. So I just have the 6 little spots where the eggs would normally sit, and I filled that. And so what's great about this is it's recycled paper. So once your seed sprouts, and if you want to transplant it into a larger container, or you want to pot it, or you want to put it right in your garden outside after the snow is gone, this is going to start to decompose a little bit. So once you water this, these are going to get a little bit soft. You can cut them and just sort of break them open and just stick the whole thing into your garden, so you don't need to worry about removing it from the tray. But you can only do that with your paper egg cartons. Your foam ones, that wouldn't work, because these paper ones break down and they're already recycled paper. So you add your potting soil to the top of your egg tray, and then just add your seeds. So I'm going to show you the bush beans because they are larger and they're easier for you to see. So that is the size of the beans. They're a little larger than some seeds. They're easy for kids to plant, and they're really successful. They sow really quickly and they sprout really quickly. So within about 2 weeks, you're going to have plants that your kids can see easily. So all I do is take a little fork and I just move some of the soil off to the side so that I have a nice little spot in the center. And I'm just going to drop my beans right down in there. So there's going to be 3 in this packet, or 3 in this little pod here. And on the back of the package, it gives you some instructions. So I'm just going to move some dirt onto there, pat it down gently, not too tight. So on the back of the package for your beans, it'll tell you how to sow them right in the soil, or if you want to sow them inside. So space your beans 2 to 4 inches apart in well-fertilized soil. As this plant grows, it may need support in the form of a trellis to keep the vines off the ground. If you sow a section or a row every 2 or 3 weeks, you can get a continuous crop of beans. Plant these seeds in warm soil after the last spring frost. So in our province in Alberta, we would need to wait longer to plant these outside. But if you want to start them inside, which is what I'm doing now, then in about a month, when the frost starts coming out of the ground in Alberta, you can start thinking about getting your garden ready. People typically plant their gardens in Alberta in late May. So that's the bush beans. The next one that I'll show you is the echinacea. So I'm just going to pour some on my hand and show you what those look like. So those are really tiny seeds. And they almost look like little pieces of bark or wood. And the instructions for those are that they'll take 10 to 20 days to germinate. They can be sown directly in your garden soil, about 1/2 inch deep. So obviously, again, in Alberta, we often start seeds inside because our spring is usually really late. And then they recommend that you plant them in full sun to partial shade. So if you plant them too close together, you can always move them and separate them after, or you can thin them out. I like to start a few extra seeds in an area and then thin them out after. So I'm just going to drop some of those in there. And then I'm going to again use some of my soil from one of my other little pods, and I'm going to cover that up. So it says to be about 1/2 inch deep. So I'll pull some of that soil over. And then I'm just going to use my finger to pat that down. And you pat it down a little bit tight so your seeds don't blow away or they don't get moved out of the soil. But don't pack them down so tight that it's going to be hard for the roots to develop. So in a few weeks, you're going to have some beans, some echinacea, and I have some parsley and some basil here that's all sprouted. And our next story is going to talk about what to do with some of those things that you grew in your garden.